Hello, good morning. Welcome back to my channel on all things under mini homestead. I just came back from our local farm and picked up some jalapenos and blackberries because I thought it would be a great idea to try making some blackberry jalapeno jam. So I have my 6 cups of blackberries in here, and then I have 5 jalapenos. This recipe calls for 5 jalapenos. You can use more if you prefer it to be a little bit more spicy. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and wash all of my produce.
I'm making sure to thoroughly wash all of my blackberries and jalapenos since they came from the farm. As I was washing my blackberries, I noticed that there was a stink bug inside, so definitely want to make sure to thoroughly wash everything. I'm going to be using my large stock pot to sterilize all of my canning jars. So I'm going to go ahead and fill my pot up with some water and carefully place in my mason jars. I want to make sure that my mason jars are completely submerged under the water. Once I have placed all my jars inside the pot, I'll transfer it over on top of my stove to bring it to a boil. While the jars sterilize, I'll begin prepping my jalapenos by slicing them up. You can always remove the seeds if you prefer, but it's a little easier just to include everything. Once my jalapenos are all sliced up, I'll grab my blender and throw in all my jalapenos. If you'd like, you can skip this step and just add your blackberries and jalapenos into a pot, let it simmer and break down on its own. However, I find blending my jalapenos and blackberries first is a lot easier. Once my jalapenos are fully blended, I'll repeat this process with my blackberries. Since my blender is a little small, I'll have to repeat this process about 3 times in order to get it all blended. Now that I have everything blended, I'm going to grab my large pot and set it on the stove on a low heat. Into the pot, I'm going to add in my blended blackberries and jalapenos. I like to use bottled lemon juice instead of the juice from lemons because the acidity in lemons can differ. To my pot, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice and a 1/4 cup of pectin. I'll bring the pot to a medium heat, and with my wooden spoon, I'll mix everything in and make sure my pectin is dissolved. After 10 minutes, my mixture will start boiling and I can add in my sugar. I'll be using 4 cups of granulated sugar for this recipe. Now I'm going to continue mixing everything in, making sure my sugar fully dissolves into the mixture, making sure to scrape the sides and the bottom so the jam doesn't stick. Once I get a nice rolling boil where I can no longer stir it down, I'll start a timer for 1 minute and continue stirring. Just be careful with this step because the jam does start to splash out. After a minute of thoroughly stirring on a rolling boil, I'll start to remove my jars from the boiling water. When canning, you'll want to remember that hot liquids go into hot jars and cold liquids go into cold jars. With a sterilized spoon and funnel, I'll start to transfer the jam into the jars, making sure not to make a mess. I want to make sure to leave a 1/4 inch of headspace at the top. I like to use a cloth dipped in vinegar to clean the tops of my jars before putting on the lids. This ensures a proper seal when water bathing. Now that the top of my jars are nice and clean, I'll go ahead and start adding the lids. I'm screwing on the lids fingertip tight. You wouldn't want to do anything tighter. If the lids are screwed on too tight, the air trapped inside the jars won't be able to vent out and can potentially cause the lids to buckle and break. Now I'm going to add my jars back into the pot of water and bring it to a boil. Once the water begins to boil, I'll start a timer for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'll carefully remove my jars and place them on the counter to rest for 24 hours. After 24 hours, all of my jars have properly sealed and I'm now able to store them in my pantry for about a year. This recipe makes 7 half-pint jars of blackberry jalapeno jam. The jam goes great on toast, bagels, pancakes. You can also use it to marinate your chicken and meats. Just look at how pretty the color turns out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this recipe as much as I do. Let me know in the comments if you gave it a try. Till next time, happy canning, my friends.